Now, back in 2014, diversity was all the rage. All the video games journalists were fetishizing about it. They were really hyped up. They were writing articles asking companies like, you need to become diverse. You just don't know how to do business, because when you have diversity, you have more ideas. When you have more ideas, it will be a better product. Now, fast forward to 2024, I think we can see some of the effects, at least. I don't know if this is due to diversity or not, but it is industry-wide. So did the ideas help? Like, did they get better ideas? Well, one of the ideas is to push for the season pass, right? Whether it's Xbox, whether it's Ubisoft, whether it's the PSN, it doesn't really matter. But the concept is all the same. And the way that they seem to be pushing is by trying this shit. So you got the standard edition of a video game, which is now $70, completely outrageous, right? Like, these companies care about inclusivity, about getting everyone to pay, but they don't realize that in America, people are so poor that they can't afford an ID to vote. So if they can't afford an ID to vote, then how are they going to afford $70 to purchase your shitty game? But anyway, right, so $70 in order to buy the game. I wonder, do they need an ID to get this shit? We're going to go into this a little bit later. But right, $70 to buy the real game. $110 to get the gold edition. So what does the gold edition allow you? Well, it has the base game, but it also gives you a 3-day early access. Isn't this some conniving shit? So, like, the game is ready to be played 3 days earlier. They're just not going to let you unless you cough up the same price that you would pay for a full expansion back in the day. This is beyond disgusting. I mean, if it's a single-player game, it's not fine, but I can understand it. However, if it's something competitive, if it's something where people want to climb the ladder, like Diablo or something like that, then having access to the game earlier gives you an advantage. They're banking on the fact that competitive players are going to pay $110 for a video game in this economy. But then you also have the Ultimate Edition, right? So the Ultimate Edition also allows you to play 3 days earlier. It has the base game, pre-order and shit. But usually there is some content that is locked, right? I think, like, in this game, if I'm not mistaken, it's the hut, right? So in a game called Star Wars Outlaws, you get the hut. The hut is really cool shit. But anyway, right, so they're basically locking content behind another paywall. So you gotta pay, like, almost double the price, right? Who the fuck is going to do that? Oh, wait, you don't actually have to pay any of this. You don't actually have to pay any of this. Instead, if you pay $18 per month, you get all this shit. The only thing is that you don't get to own the game. And they also get to moderate you platform-wise. So if they don't want you to talk about something, if they don't want you to make some edgy jokes, right, and you actually do, you lose access to every single game that you have. Now, take into account, this is kind of like the Netflix of games. And there's many companies that do it. In fact, almost all AAA companies have something similar. Ubisoft has something like this. PlayStation Network has something like this. Xbox have something like this, right? So the idea is that if you get banned, you lose all of your games library. Every single one, which includes all the saves that you got, all the loot boxes that you got, all the cosmetics that you purchased, all the micro DLC, everything goes to shit. You don't own the games. But it's very tempting, isn't it? So what ends up happening is that a lot of companies, especially Xbox, they banked on the fact that players are going to be this stupid, that they're going to be this moronic, and they're actually going to take advantage of the season pass. Again, it's kind of like Netflix, but at least with Netflix, you do not collect stuff for the individual shows that you're watching. Like, you do not buy cosmetics for Breaking Bad. You do not buy DLC for Breaking Bad. You do not make friends and acquaintances while playing Breaking Bad. But if you play FIFA, for instance, you may have, like, an entire list of friends that you want to keep, so you got to keep coughing the money. You got to keep coughing the money. Now, another bad thing with this shit is that let's assume a lot of people were dumb enough to take it. When you have a game that is so fucking woke, it's so woke that even the communists won't play it, and it's absolute garbage, like Suicide Squad, right? Even if Suicide Squad does poorly, it doesn't lose sales, right? Because you're not purchasing the actual game. So now the incentive is for the games to be as shit as possible, take money from BlackRock, suck on that ESG cash, and provide little to no entertainment. So like if players were to actually be dumb enough and purchase this, the quality of the gaming industry, you think it's bad now? Holy shit, give it 2 or 3 years, it would have been abysmal. So I'm really glad that gamers had the common sense not to buy it. And a lot of the companies, they invested a lot on gamers being stupid. Like they genuinely banked money on on gamers being morons because, hey, you know, the mother of stupid is always pregnant. But that didn't work out. So what ended up happening is they're now increasing the price. Now, this is something they could have always done, right? So, like, even if all of the gamers would have signed up for this, they could have increased the price later. But I don't think they're doing that because gamers are signing up. I think they're actually desperate. They're realizing that gamers aren't interested. So what they're doing is they're raising the price. And again, take into account that you are invested into keep paying now. Because you're kind of addicted. Like, you bought a lot of cosmetics, you bought a lot of DLC, you bought a lot of shit, right? So you don't want to lose the products. You don't want to lose your stuff. And, oh, well, it's just $2 now. But like, they can then increase it further and further and further. And you actually don't own the game. You don't own even the DLC. You don't even own anything that you buy now. And it's interesting that the FTC commission actually came on and accused Xbox of inflicting consumer harm, which I don't think they can. I mean, they have Trust and Safety Council. They're very safe, right? Unfortunately, the safety is just to tone police you and your friends. It's not to stop the company itself from harming the customers. So it is nice to see that the FTC actually came in and accused Xbox of inflicting consumer harm. Also product degradation, although I don't think they're going to do shit about it, but it is a warning. I do think the European Union may do a shit about it. Like, for those of you who don't know, European Union has a different system. It's one of the best things that the EU has. It doesn't have many good things, but this is one of them. So many governments in Europe have this thing called like an entity which is there to protect the consumer. And from the taxpayer money, they hire an army of lawyers. So, like, the lawyers aren't paid by you, they're paid by the government. And you just go to the Office of Consumer Protection and you tell them, look what Ubisoft is doing. Look what Steam is doing. And if you have a case, they will take it on your behalf and you don't have to pay them a single cent. You don't have to show yourself in court. Basically, what will happen is Xbox will be sued by a government. So, like, there will be a lawsuit between, I don't know, the government of Romania versus Ubisoft. This actually happened with Steam. There was a Russian which said some naughty words to a Steam moderator. And because of that, the Steam moderator blocked his entire account. And Russia has a similar system. He went and he complained. He said he paid for the games. And the Russian government sued Steam. So the guy didn't have to show up in court. He didn't have to pay anything. He just went, signed a piece of papers. The lawyers looked at it. They said, oh yeah, there might be something here. And that's it, right? So this is good because, like, a lot of people from the EU, if they view themselves as being harmed by these companies, and if, especially if the Federal Trade Commission is writing a letter, and they can also show this when they're going to the Customer Protection Agency, and it's like, look, even the American government is suggesting that this may be harmful. I don't like the price increase. I spent a lot of DLC on these games. I demand satisfaction. Well, those lawyers that are hired, they have big boners, just willing to fuck with companies on behalf of customers. And again, they're paid by the government. You don't have to pay them. And there you go. So, yeah, I really hate these companies. The reason that I hate them the most is not just because of the manly chin lines they keep adding to women, but it's also due to this. Like, this is a horrible business practice. Soulless company, doesn't care about its customers anymore, doesn't care about the finances of the customers. They're very inclusive. They care about inclusivity and left-leaning issues, but they don't care about milking their customers dry. So if this is the case, you don't care about me, I don't care about you. I hope that you're going to have a happy time dealing with the Federal Trade Commissions and the European Union. So let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.